Welcome back, Sebastian here. So today I'm going to be doing my Monaco ePrix review. So I thought it was a really excellent race, so we'll get started right away. So both DS Penske's were kicked out of qualifying for some kind of technical infringement. Hughes started on pole and Fenestras started second. I was quite confused, and it turns out that Fenestras's last lap from the final was basically canceled because he went over the 365 kilowatt limit. Lap 1, good start for Hughes. Tictum overtook Gunther for P5, and Mortara cut the swimming pool chicane. Lap 2, Roland lunges down the inside of the hairpin and gets up to P7. Roland in 6 passes Evans. Lap 3, Lauder retires, so he basically had some contact with Rast, lost his front wing and was kind of spun into the wall, kind of near the end of the lap. Lap 3, and then Roland as well took attack mode and he was down to 9th. Lap 5, Cassidy jumps 2 spots at the hairpin, so a really good overtake there, and he was up to P6. Lap 6, Roland has damage and he goes through the chicane and he kind of steamed into the back of the Mortara, but he carries on. Cassidy overtakes Tictum for P4 and then overtakes Nato for P3. So at this point, Cassidy's really moving up the order extremely quickly after a kind of so-so qualifying. Lap 7, Hughes takes attack mode and he's down to 4th, and shortly after that, Tictum overtook him for P4. Lap 8, Fenestras takes attack mode and he comes out ahead of Hughes. And the same lap, Evans also overtakes Hughes for P5 at the hairpin. Lap 9, Cassidy and Nato both take attack mode and they're 3rd and 7th respectively. So at this point, Dan Tictum is in 4th place overall in the race. Dennis overtakes Cassidy for P4 as well. Lap 10, Tictum and Dennis both take attack mode and they're 3rd and 6th, and at this point Evans is in 1st. Lap 11, Cassidy overtakes Tictum for P3, and Fenestras and Tictum's attack modes are done for the race. Lap 13, attack mode again for Cassidy, who goes into P2, and Hughes was holding P4 and then goes up to and was down to P5. Lap 14, Dennis overtakes Fenestras for P3. Evans then overtakes Dennis for P2 after attack mode, so making a very rare overtake where they actually make use of the extra power from attack mode. Verlines then hits his front wing on the back of Nato, kind of going through the hairpin, and the debris from that hits Bird. But Verline basically manages to continue anyways. Lap 16, Evans overtakes Cassidy for P1 at turn 1, so good move there in attack mode. There's a problem for DaCosta, who gets a puncture, and then Bird and Nato also, in the same lap, all three of them kind of cut the Nouvelle chicane, and DaCosta has to pit to fix the puncture. Lap 18, Cassidy overtakes Evans for P1 at turn 1, so good move there by Cassidy, and Dennis tries to go around the outside of Mirabeau for P2, but is not successful. Lap 20, the leaders were very close together and it was looking very tight at the front between the leaders. Mortara then loses his front wing at the hairpin. He basically hit his teammate Gunther and he lost his front wing, so not ideal there. Tictum then kind of clips the wall and breaks, what did he do? He hit the back of another car, I think Fenestras, and he basically broke the front wing, so he kind of was losing pace at this point. He was then kind of going quite slowly going up to turn 3, but then basically Gunther kind of steamrolled into the back of him and kind of damaged his car. So it turned out that basically Tictum tried to block Gunther holding his position. So even though he was going a bit slower, he wasn't going too slowly. So I think the commentators thought it was fair, and I kind of thought it was fair as well. That section from going from turn 1 all the way up to turn 3, it's not a straight line. You kind of have to go back and forth, so it's not really an overtaking zone. So I think for Gunther, he kind of has to be cautious, and he kind of has to know that there's only one line going through there. So lap 22, the safety car comes out, and Gunther is basically stopped at turn 3, so he's basically to recover his car. Let's see, Nato also pit, so it looks like Nato picked up some damage in that as well. Lap 24, the safety car comes in, and we notice that Muller has no front wing, so he's basically driving around with no front wing, but he still has a fair amount of pace. Lap 25, they announced that there was no added laps at this point, and because of that, they had enough energy that they didn't really have to manage energy anymore. So Cassidy and Evans were basically pulling away at this point, well clear of Dennis. And lap 28, right before the last lap, Muller was off at turn 1. So basically he had some contact with Bird. I thought it was kind of a 50-50, but the safety car was deployed and Bird would later be given a 5-second penalty for that contact, I believe. And then, so Cassidy takes the checkered flag. He wins his second race in a row, the fourth race won in a row by someone from New Zealand. So that was a new Formula E record as well. So your result from the Monaco ePrix, 2023 Monaco ePrix: first Cassidy, second Evans, third Dennis, fourth Fenestraz, fifth Hughes. Really good results for Fenestraz and Hughes. They've had some really good qualifying results earlier this year, but this is kind of the first race where it's kind of they've been able to keep the pace going into the race. Sixth Ticktum, I think, fantastic result for him. Seventh, John-Eric Verne. Eighth, Buemi. Ninth, Van Doren. 10th, Verline. 11th, Mortara. 12th, Degrassi. 13th, Frinth. 14th, Sergio Sette Camara. 15th, Acosta. 16th, Bird. So that's where Bird ended up after his penalty. He was originally 10th. 17th, Rast. 18th, Nato. And your retirements were Muller, Gunther, Roland, and Lauderer. Your Drivers' Championship standings after round 9, I believe. Cassidy moves up into first in the championship, so after Verline has held the championship lead for the vast majority of the start of the season, Cassidy gets the lead with 121 points, 20 points clear of Verline in second with 101, Dennis third with 96, with 94 points, Evans in fourth place, Jev with 87 points in fifth, sixth Acosta with 68, seventh Bird with 62, eighth Buemi with 61, 9th Hughes with 45, 10th Frast with 40, Van Doren with 28 points in 11th, Gunther with 24 points in 12th, Lauderer in 13th with 23, Fenestraz in 14th with 19, and then 15th and 16th both with 18 points are Degrassi and Ticktum, 17th Nato, 18th Sergio Sette Camara, 19th Roland, 20th Mortara, 21st Frines, 22nd Muller, Sette Camara 10, Roland 9, Mortara and Frines with 5-3, and then Muller last of the permanent drivers with 2, and of course Van der Linde still with 0 points. Your team's championship standings: first Envision with 182 points, second Porsche with 169, third Jaguar with 156, fourth Andretti with 119, fifth DS Penske with 115, McLaren 6th with 85, and then a big gap down to Nissan in 7th with 30, 8th Maserati with 29, 9th Neo with 28, 10th Mahindra with 27, and 11th Abt with 5. So a very close battle there between 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th in the team's championship. So overall, I thought it was a pretty good race. I think we saw a more traditional Formula E race with more overtaking, and less of kind of the slipstreaming battle that we saw in Berlin. So that's all for my review of the Monaco ePrix. Thank you so much for watching. Of course, I'll be out later this week with the Monaco ePrix Power Rankings. Thanks so much for watching, and goodbye.